You can plan everything out on your trip, but sometimes things go wrong and don't work out the way they're supposed to. That's when we as cast members and employees could step in and make some magic. So you have spent all this time planning a trip. You've got it all set up to the nth degree. And then when you get there at the park, something happens. Maybe it's something small, maybe it's something big, but things don't quite work out the way you wanted them to. Well, that's when we as cast members could step in, and we could use that opportunity to create a little bit of magic. Like playing with the puppy. A lot of times, the problems that guests would run into would be simple fixes. Something small, but it would be enough that could actually ruin a day. We didn't want that to happen, so we'd fix it if we could. Something as simple as a kid holding a balloon and letting go and off it goes. Or a spilled drink, or dropped popcorn. We saw this all the time. And the simple rule was, if you see a guest drop food or lose a balloon, you go get another one. We had these little forms that we would actually be able to fill out and explain what happened, why we were replacing it, and essentially it worked as a cash voucher. And sometimes the vendors would be really picky, especially the balloon guys. Most of the time, you see a spilled drink and you'd immediately walk up to the cart closest nearby and say, hey, I need to get another drink for this guest. They had a such and such. And you just immediately hand it out, there you go. I saw one time that somebody had, one of the souvenir cups and dropped it and it just shattered and broke. Walk up, hey, I need to get another souvenir cup for this guest. They just broke theirs. That wasn't a problem. Those were quick, simple, easy fixes. Nobody asked about that. We just did it. It was something that actually at all of the parks I worked at, they told you, if you see this, just fix it. Make the guest happy. So those kinds of things are easy. Something a little more complicated like clothing getting ruined. One of the issues that we would have rarely on the train at Silver Dollar City is because it's a steam train, it blows soot. And every now and then, especially if people were up in the front car, some of the soot would come down and it would get on clothing. Well, if they had a white shirt and then you get black soot on it, and it kind of rub in and it looked bad. And sometimes you could get it off. But we had a couple times where people had their shirts spotted and possibly stained. Okay, what do you do then? Well, hey, let me walk you up to the closest souvenir stand where they got some shirts. Let's get you another shirt. And let's take care of that. Didn't have it happen very often at Silver Dollar City, but it was generally known and approved. Same thing at Disney. I watched a couple of times where people had clothes ruined. I had one time on Main Street that a baby just exploded. And okay, let's go find you some other clothes for the child or for you. My own daughter had this happen. In fact, when we were at MGM Studios and I was out there with her and we ended up with a mess and they immediately, let's get you something else to wear. Let's get you taken care of. It was a general rule that, especially at Disney and somewhat at Silver Dollar City, that if something happened at the park and your clothes were ruined or possibly we're going to get you a replacement. That was just how it was. There were a couple times on Main Street that I do remember walking into the Emporium with the guests, and hey, they had an issue with their clothing. One had spilled soda all over. We need to get them replacements. Most of the time, hey, sure, no problem. And you'd hand them off to the other cast member working there, and they'd take care of it, and you'd go back and do what you were supposed to. I did have a couple times that, I don't know if they were newer cast members or just grumpy, but they would look at me, what? Well, we're not really... Excuse me? Fix it. Get them another shirt. I'll come back later and fill out the form and bring you the proper one. I have to get out there, but fix it. Rarely an issue. And then if a manager came up, manager's like, yeah, get them a replacement. This seems to have changed a little bit now. Mostly because of people cheating the system and taking advantage and using it to get free clothing, which is annoying. Because then when you do have a real issue, like my friend ripping his shorts in Disneyland, they kind of go, Target's down the road. That never would have flown when I worked there. And I hope with Iger coming back, it's changing back again. But people, stop cheating the system too. because it hurts the people who need it. That really annoys me. Really annoys me. We always do. Let's take care of the guest. I had this happen where somebody walked up, they were buying some pins and their card declined. Well, as a cast member, all right, usually had a couple pins on me. Here's a couple pins. They may not be what you were looking for, but maybe you could trade for them. We had a friend on one of our trips have that exact same thing happen. All right, let's kick in. What can we do? Let's fix the problem. Contacted somebody who sold pins, who actually had some of the pins they wanted, and we worked a deal and we got them their pins a couple days later. As a cast member, that was kind of a standard fare for me. Is you're wanting to get that and something happened and you should have the money and you don't? Okay, what can we do? And I would occasionally watch cast members write out a form and hand out a nice piece of merch. When kids would get separated from parents, this was another kind of standard deal that we had a couple times that kids lost their parents. Parents had wandered off and forgot child. Normally, within a couple minutes of being lost, you would find the parents. We trained that, okay, you take the child, you calm them down. What do your parents look like? And you kind of walk in a short circle around where the child is, and you usually would find them very quickly. Rarely, the parents really got lost, and then you would have to call somebody up. But one of the very first things you do, if they didn't find the parents in the first few minutes, and this is going to take a while and you were waiting, all right, who's your favorite character? Look, there's a plush, and you'd get the kid a plush. Or something to calm them down, make them feel better, be a comfort. And then guest relations would kind of do the same thing. We took care of and tried to solve problems that way. That's what we did. The other thing, too, is that we trained for when there was emergencies. Busch Gardens, we trained to evac those Land Rovers. We were CPR trained at Busch. We were CPR trained at Silver Dollar City. What do you do when something goes wrong? If you haven't seen my interview with Seth from the train at Silver Dollar City, you need to, because we talk about some of the things that we practiced and rehearsed and what happens if the engineer has a heart attack and various things like that, or the engine breaks. And we would train. We would talk about it in training, and then we would go out and practice it. Every now and then we'd have some time with no guests. All right, let's practice it again. What do we do? And we were constantly practicing and reviewing and learning, making sure that we were ready if something did go wrong. That was in the training. From the day that you arrived at the parks, Busch, Silver Dollar City, and Disney, all of them, what do you do when something goes wrong? How do you address it? Do you take care of the guest's need? Do you fix it? What's the priorities? It was all part of the training because we want everybody to have the most magical trip possible, especially if something didn't go right. You know, things don't always go as planned, and you just have to work with them. Another example is one of the things I had planned for this summer. We've got a trip out to California, and I had been planning a road trip, and hey, let's go stop at Lagoon, and let's stop at Busch Gardens this summer. And it, unfortunately, once we started budgeting, budget happens, we realized that it was just going to be too expensive to go the route we were, and so we ended up actually cashing in miles and certificates, and we're flying out for next to nothing, but it means we won't have that time driving where we would have been able to stop at the parks. You adjust plans on the fly. Okay, we can't do Lagoon. We can't do those. But you know what? I have passes. I'm going to go to Knott's Berry Farm. I got family in the area. It's actually going to give us a couple more days there. Hey, I got somebody that has passes to San Diego Zoo. Maybe we'll go to the zoo. So you learn to adjust. What can we do if they came and their ride that they wanted isn't open? What can we do to fix it? Maybe the ride they've been wanting to ride has just been up and down all day and you can't seem to keep it open. Well, hey, here's a fast pass. Or now it's Lightning Lane. Let's get you past that line and get you on the ride you've been wanting to do. So you learn to work and do what you could to help the guests make magic. That was one of my favorite parts of the job. You don't like seeing people have issues, but boy, was it fun to fix it and watch them light up and go, wow, that's awesome. It just made my day. That would make my day, and I love doing it. Did you have something like that happen to you, or were you able to do something like that as a guest or an employee? I'd love to hear your stories. Please share them in the comments below. I want to say thank you so much for watching, subscribing, hitting like. We're almost at 30,000. Let's hit it. I need just a couple hundred more, and we got a big, huge to-do. Please share the link. Hit that subscribe button. Let's hit 30,000. We're that close, that close. I also want to give a huge shout out to my patrons, my YouTube members, my financial supporters. I couldn't do this without them. They bless me so much. They've been part of my planning. They help trips happen. They help do the set, and there's just so much that they provide. But they also get a lot of background perks. They get to see behind the scenes. They get to see what's going on. They get previews, early previews, and more. If you want to know more about that, I would love your support. Please check the link below. I also want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Tendo the Seal for signing on as a new patron. Welcome, Tendo. Looking forward to it. He's got a project in the works that I'm looking forward to being part of, and you'll know about that more later. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. You are an obnoxious little goober. Okay, hop down. Okay, get down. I know, be a good puppy. Moody! Would you stop it? Okay, no, Moody. Down. Be good. She's just gonna play. Alright. Please, Moody. No. Down. Get down. Let's just say that that's what we did. My dog has the zoomies. You're a maroon. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. Be sure to share them in the comments below, or you can contact me. There's information in the description that has my email address, fan pages, information about merchandise, and so much more. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and if you haven't already, hit the button right up there to subscribe. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, I've even got another video for you right here. And also about these wonderful people here, those are my YouTube members and my patrons, the ones whose financial support makes this possible. I couldn't do it without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that come with it, well, be sure to check the description. There's a link right down there. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless.